Did you know that one of the deleted scenes from SpongeBob SquarePants in some parts of the world is closely related to one of the most delicious foods out there? It may sound unbelievable, but it's true. This happens in the episode Are You Happy Now? From the 8th season. In this episode, Squidward takes the book SpongeBob was reading and questions what's so great about it. SpongeBob then claims that the book contains a list of his happiest memories. So SpongeBob starts trying to help Squidward find his happiest memory, which is quite a challenging mission. And the deleted scene is one of their unsuccessful attempts to create good memories, where Squidward sticks his head in the hot oven to retrieve brownies, which happen to be one of the best foods in the world. This scene was cut in the United Kingdom and Ireland to prevent children from imitating it at home and suffering serious burns, just like Squidward did.
I just can't seem to get happy. Well, that didn't help.
This was just the first of the 13 scenes that were altered or deleted in other countries, and you have no idea. No holding hands. The episode from the second season, The Fry Cook Games, is the famous one where Patrick and SpongeBob compete against each other. If you think it's a fight scene that got censored, you're mistaken. At a certain point, Patrick and SpongeBob stop fighting and start walking hand in hand. So, in some Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, this scene was cut because censors believe it was inappropriate for children to see two men doing that.
Let's promise never to fight again, buddy.
Yeah, pal. Let's go home.
Forbidden symbol. This is certainly an unusual censorship case. In the episode My Two Crabs, Mr. Krabs gets ready for a date, but SpongeBob finds his empty shell, thinking his boss has died. So SpongeBob and Patrick decide to give a, let's say, proper send-off to the remains of the Krusty Krab owner. They use a trash can with plankton so that Mr. Krabs' shell can still make it to the date, fulfilling his former owner's last wish. If you noticed, you'll see a toxic symbol on Plankton's trash can. In Japan, this symbol was removed to prevent children from touching drums with these symbols, just like SpongeBob and Patrick were doing so casually.
Enjoy your chum drum. Yum, yum.
Thanks, Plankton. Love you.
Risky double entendre. Remember the episode we mentioned at the beginning, Are You Happy Now? From the 8th season? In that episode, there's another censored scene. At one point, Squidward looks visibly downcast and picks up a rope. It really implies that he's going to, how should I put it? But in reality, he's just climbing up his oyster cage, although the intention was indeed to make it seem like he was contemplating something much darker. To avoid this double entendre, it was removed from broadcast TV in the United Kingdom and Ireland, but ended up staying on Netflix and Paramount+.
I can't seem to get happy. Maybe this will help.
Too sexy. In the 10th season episode Burst Your Bubble, there's a scene that we can say is at least controversial. While walking sadly, SpongeBob sees that memorable scene of Mr. Krabs washing his boat in extremely short jean shorts. This is the kind of thing you can't forget. That's why it was altered in various places. For example, in Korea, it was shown, but the zoom to see Mr. Krabs was not done. In more conservative countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia, it was completely cut because it was deemed inappropriate for someone to have such sexy behavior. Inappropriate words. In the 10th season episode, Sports, we have a case of censorship involving words. In this episode, a truck passes by and drops a box of sports equipment in SpongeBob's yard. So SpongeBob and Patrick start practicing some sports, but they end up throwing a ball that lands in Squidward's house and completely ruins his dinner. At this moment, he calls his two friends idiots. This line was completely cut in Poland to prevent children from learning offensive words. I would never have imagined there are so many SpongeBob SquarePants censorship instances around the world. What about you? If you already know about these censorships, comment down below, #new. But if you, like me, had no idea about all of them, comment #didn't know, just so we can find out. New Sandy fashion. We know Sandy has her own unique outfits, being the only mammal living in Bikini Bottom. When she's underwater, she wears something resembling a spacesuit, but in her natural habitat, she sports a purple bikini. However, in Muslim countries, this type of clothing is considered extremely inappropriate and forbidden for women, as in many of these places, only their eyes are allowed to be visible through the burqa. So in countries like Iran, they decided to go for a completely different adaptation. They, let's say, extended Sandy's clothing, creating a sort of full-body jumpsuit, but they kept the small skirt that sat above her Texas squirrel waist. This change occurred in the episode Squid Defense, when Sandy needs to teach Squidward how to defend himself.
که بهت کمک میکنه تا از خودت محافظت کنی.
باشه فهمیدم.
عالیه. بعد من تکرار کن. هیا!
Dangerous pins. In the episode The Nitwitting from the 12th season, Patrick introduces SpongeBob to a prestigious society of nitwits and idiots. In this episode, a scene was cut in the United Kingdom when the Ice Cream King attaches SpongeBob's idiot certification to his pants with a pin. This was considered an incitement to dangerous acts by children.
Perfect! You've earned your first badge!
Sushi Factory. Definitely. Squidward is the character who gets hurt the most in the entire SpongeBob series. But even for him, there's a limit. At least that's what many countries like Indonesia thought about a specific scene that happened in the episode Life Insurance. In this episode, SpongeBob signs a life insurance contract and begins testing it in all sorts of dangerous ways. Later in the episode, he and Patrick convince Squidward to get life insurance too. After Squidward signs the document, he ends up in a place called the Sushi Maker to prove that he won't have accidents anymore. And this happens.
No.
This scene was painfully excruciating, even for Squidward. That's why it was completely banned in Indonesia. Baseball bats. Returning to the episode The Nitwitting from the 12th season, another scene was deleted, but this time in Ireland. It happens when Patrick hits a parking meter with a baseball bat while SpongeBob follows him, replacing equipment with bowls of soup. It was considered an incitement to acts of vandalism for young people, so it was completely deleted in that country. Too many lights. As we mentioned before, in the episode Life Insurance, many terrible things happen to Squidward, as you've already seen. But another scene from this same episode was cut, this time in England. It's the scene where Squidward is hit by a giant jellyfish. Contrary to what you might be imagining, it's not because of the pain that Squidward is feeling, but rather because of the intense colors on the screen. The country's TV networks thought it was better to avoid them to prevent children from having seizures. Eating badges. Once again, talking about the episode The Nitwitting from the 12th season, another scene was deleted, also in Ireland and the United Kingdom. Remember that sort of badge SpongeBob gets when he joins the Order of the Nitwits, which is pinned to his body with a tack? Well, after Sandy points to it, SpongeBob takes the badge, puts it in his mouth with the tack, chews it, and swallows it. Indecent lick. To wrap up our list today of scenes cut in other countries, we have to talk about one of the most controversial of all. This happens in the episode Salsa Imbecilicus, where Plankton has the, in quotes, brilliant idea of making a sauce that will make everyone as dumb as Patrick. For this, he needs to get a sample from Patrick, so he goes to Patrick's house while he's sleeping, he enters his mouth, but Patrick's tongue was awake and tries to devour Plankton. It doesn't succeed, but ends up licking his behind.
You twisted tongue! You will not lick me!
In the Philippines, this part of the scene was cut because it was considered entirely inappropriate for children. Honestly, I have to agree that this one is a bit too much. These were another 13 scenes deleted or censored in SpongeBob SquarePants around the world. Check out these videos popping up on your screen. Man, this first one looks really cool. I'd watch it if I were you.